I watched all the clips, read all the stories that's out there. So I've seen the good, bad, and the ugly about you. And I see the love and hate relationship. There are those who hate you, and I called some friends, and these are guys that are in business who are from Chicago. And I said, tell me what you think about this guy. And they said, well, let me tell you who he is. You know, there are people here that like him. There are people here that think he's innocent. There are people here that think he's guilty. But it was a mixture. It wasn't just all good and all bad. Some people that I thought were going to be saying nothing but bad things about you were like, no, this guy was actually trying to do some stuff, but he got caught doing what everybody else does, and he went to jail for it. The other guys didn't. And then some of the guys I talked to, they just said, Pat, don't let him fool you. He's a charmer, charismatic, this, that. You have to understand where he's at. He's a very good persuader. So why this love-hate relationship with you?
Well, isn't that the case when you take strong positions? I mean, with all due respect, if you were not those things, that means you didn't stand for anything, right? Franklin Roosevelt said, you have enemies, good. That means you stood for something. And, I think as governor, I was the first Democrat governor in 26 years elected in Illinois, but I didn't want to raise taxes on the people. My party loves to raise taxes on regular people. We claim to be the party of the little guy and working people, but every chance the Democrats in Illinois get, they keep jacking up taxes. That's why Illinois is the highest tax state in the nation. So I was determined to invest more money in health care and provide health care to kids and other families, do things like free public transportation for our seniors, which we did, preschool for our 3- and 4-year-olds, and a lot of other initiatives without raising taxes on the people, which meant to pay for those things, you got to move the money around. That means you're taking it away from others who benefited from it, and when you do that, you piss them off. So I think a lot of it had to do with the establishment came after me. And, I sat in prison and watched with horror what the same people using the same playbook were trying to do to President Trump. And what they did to me, a Democrat governor at the AAA level, they tried to do at the major league level to a Republican president. Fortunately, he was able to beat it because he had, a lot more support, and he had the ability of the Oval Office and the bully pulpit that the president has that governors don't have. But it's the same thing, and this is very scary for our democracy. It's not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's an American issue. It goes to the heart of our freedoms. We, the people, should choose our leaders in free, fair, and honest elections and not have the choices taken away from us by corrupt prosecutors who would criminalize legal things. I didn't break a single law. And yeah, you have those naysayers over there in Chicago. Everything I did was legal. They were conversations that began because President-elect Obama sent an emissary to me to make a political deal about the senator he wanted. The person he wanted picked his senator. We discussed what we could get in that political deal, all legal. I mean, I got a D in algebra. I'm not claiming to be the smartest guy in the room, but I'm not that stupid. How do you fucking steal a Senate seat when you're the governor and get away with it? You can't be that stupid. And you don't mind me swearing, right?
No, you're fine.
You guys are fucking golden. You know that?
So, but go back to that. Yeah. Go back to that when you're saying, go ahead.
Right. So, they expected, what they did was, the prosecutors did, they brought shock and awe. I was Roger Stone before Roger Stone. In other words, they came to my house with SWAT teams at 6 o'clock in the morning. On the 9th of December, 2008, I'm a sitting governor. You don't arrest a governor or anybody unless the person's a threat to run away or a threat to his neighbors. I was neither one of those things. But they did it for the big show. And they did it to create an environment where they create this inevitable, foreseeable chain of events that would invite the media to see this super sensational story and run with a narrative that they fully expect that I would just give up and give in and cut my losses and maybe take 18 months. But I would never do it. And so I fought back, and they didn't convict me at a first trial. They tried me a second time. They used an unlawful standard to convict me on legal things. No one even alleges that I took any money. It was all politics. And the so-called sale of the Senate seat, which I'm known for, was reversed by the appellate court on the 22nd of July, 2015, as I sat in prison. They could never uphold that unlawful standard they used against me. But they kept me in prison for 3 fundraising requests where there was no quid pro quo, which means no crime. But they moved the line and instructed the jury to convict if we asked for campaign contributions from people or groups who had business interests with the state, which is how politics works, completely legal. But I think it was such a big deal that somebody had to go down. And when you're fighting back against that kind of power, deep down you're going down, but you make a decision, I'm going down fighting, because as Winston Churchill said, nations that go down fighting come back, but those who shamelessly surrender don't. So I think I've got a big, powerful comeback ahead of me.
Yeah. When you're saying, they did this, they did that, they did this, who is they? Can you define? Is it Michael Casey? Is it who's they?
Well, the U.S. Attorney Patrick Fitzgerald, who's
Okay.
real close with James Comey, these guys worked together. He was in the FBI, number one, number two guy in the FBI. Mueller was the FBI director when they arrested me. It's the same people that were doing to Trump what they did to me. And I think President Trump recognized that, and that's among the reasons why he sent me home. And
What was his reasoning, though? Because he didn't have beef with you to start. There must have been something you have done where he said, something's up with that guy. Where did this all initiate?
You know, I learned after I was arrested, I learned that they had been investigating. First of all, I knew they were investigating my administration and me since the very beginning when I became governor. Within 6 months.
For what reason, though?
They were looking at some people that I was close to, a guy by the name of Tony Resco, who was close to Obama and me, raised money for both of us. And but I had nothing to do with any of the things that they were looking at him at. But I was well aware that they were looking. And, you know, you come out of Chicago politics, you just assume those people look at you. So everything, you know, I tried to do was to make sure we were super careful we didn't do anything to cross lines. The irony is those FBI tapes, for 6 weeks they were taping me, I assumed it was possible they could be listening. I was discussing the sale of the Senate seat. I was talking about every possible idea so that whatever we did was legal, didn't cross lines, and was the best possible decision I could make on something that was effing golden. It was fucking golden. You got this thing, and everybody wants it, and you can make a real good political deal that could be helpful, hopefully, to people if you do it the right way.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.